Hey guys, hope you are all having a great Sunday. This week is going to be quite different, given that it's Thanksgiving and the market schedule is slightly changed as a result of it. I am going to go over everything you need to know in preparation for this week, as well as what I expect the stock prices for GameStop and AMC to go, and some important details and developments that have happened that are absolutely crucial for us to understand. I want to thank everyone who watched the video I made yesterday, which will be linked down in a pinned comment below. I'm glad I was able to provide you guys with a bit of perspective on some issues as well as on the ongoings of Citadel. Before we start, let me quickly state that I am not a financial advisor, and that all content discussed in this channel is simply information gathered that I deem important for people to know, so that they can make informed decisions. All efforts are aimed to better understand the nature of the current market in anticipation of the greatest squeeze in financial history. Let's get started. Let's begin with the most important topic, which is the market schedule. The stock market is going to be open and operate on standard hours Monday through Wednesday. On Thursday, both the New York Stock Exchange and the Nasdaq will be closed due to Thanksgiving. The stock markets will be opened on Black Friday, but only in the morning since they will be closing early. The stock market will shut down at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, while the bond market will be closing down at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So again, Monday through Wednesday expect nothing changed. Thursday the Nasdaq and New York Stock Exchange will be closed all day, and on Friday, the stock market will be opened until 1 p.m. Eastern Time and the bond market will be opened until 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Having said that, let's now cover some pretty wild news. First and foremost, we have JP Morgan making headlines yet again, celebrating the blind spots and inadequacy of our current Justice Department. The giant and notorious institution has agreed to pay a $60 million settlement for a class action litigation by investors who were wrongfully cheated out of their money after the bank, which happens to be the largest bank in the United States, was caught manipulating prices of precious metals and futures and options. I have covered in great depths how and why these institutions are allowed to get away with this kind of stuff repeatedly year after year. What is even more disturbing than all of this is the fact that with this type of agreement, JP Morgan gets exempt from oversight by authorities, and not a single executive can be subjected to any type of investigation or criminal charge for it. Furthermore, these type of agreements for settlements actually allow JP Morgan to write off this $60 million settlement as a business expense that will give them a huge tax credit write-off. That's right, they actually get a big tax deduction for agreeing to pay a small fine, which is more like a business expense given that the revenues and profits derived from such crimes is much bigger than the $60 million settlement they have to pay. You will not see any executive being reprimanded or investigated or taken to court over this. You will not see any real change in behavior either, since these institutions repeatedly do this kind of criminal act a couple of times a year since they won't be taken to court. These are the same institutions that the media tells me I have to believe and place my trust on, to take their financial expert advice and invest my hard-earned money as they deem correct. Miss me with that crock of nonsense, CNBC. In fact, I have actually terminated all my bank accounts and can proudly say that I don't do any business with these banks. I will soon finalize my relationship with this small bank I have and fully transfer over to a credit union. I can also say that I went and opened 2 accounts with 2 fintech companies, which by the way, gave me better service, better credit limits, better rates and a better overall experience than I ever had at a bank. Banks in the United States are beyond the rule of law, and I do not trust any institution that frequently abuses and defrauds their own customers just so that their board can make a couple extra $1 billion in bonuses per year. Given that we are on the subject of justice, or the lack of it, let's now expand to one of the biggest stories of this year. On November 18th, Robinhood and Citadel won the dismissal of a proposed class action lawsuit by retail investors who accused the firms of colluding during the January's meme stock frenzy. The judge said the plaintiffs failed to show there was any agreement between Citadel Securities and Robinhood to act in concert. Dismissing the case without prejudice, the judge gave investors until December 20th to possibly file an amended complaint. To justify the ruling, the judge said the plaintiffs were only inferring such pressure was applied based on a few vague and ambiguous emails between the 2 firms in an otherwise lawful, ongoing business relationship. A Citadel representative said in an email that they are pleased that the court agreed that there is no basis for the plaintiffs. Yeah, I guess all those talks about being screwed and the 2 heads of both respective companies having secret chats, which is in direct contrast to the public statements they did on the hearings, did not matter to the judge. The evidence was all there, and what is even more bothersome is how easily a judge can dismiss a lawsuit with piles of evidence. I guess in the modern day, You need full video evidence of corporate criminals admitting to wrongdoing in order to hold them liable, because clearly anything short of that will be dismissed as being too vague. However, if you think this is the worst of it all, I recommend you bring a bucket to throw up and buckle up, because a new discovery shining light into this court case will only cement your resentment in the justice system. The judge presiding over the case, a woman named Altonaga, has a mega huge conflict of interest in this case. One of the defendants in the case, a man named George Menchio, just happens to be Judge Altonaga's husband. Talk about corruption to the deepest level possible in the courts. Now we have judges literally saving firms based on the fact that their spouses are defendants. Guys, I am exhausted from the amount of corruption in our legal system. You know that saying that says a lawyer knows the law but a good lawyer knows the judge? Well, it seems Kenny and other defendants did well on literally making this famous phrase become reality. The system is built to be entirely self-serving for the elite. Can't wait for a dip and buy me some much-needed GME for emotional comfort. It goes along with what we discussed the other day, with Ken Griffin buying a first-edition copy of the most sacred document in this country. When did we allow the United States Constitution to be hoarded out to billionaires? The man has been printing fake shares that have allowed him to enrich himself, and with this dark money he has bought himself the Constitution. It almost sounds like this is a dark tale in a fantasy book, because it just doesn't really register with me how deep the corruption in this country runs. The SEC is a joke, the Department of Justice is a joke, the Constitution is a hot item for bribery, and justice is an illusion. The only thing I believe in is in meme stocks right now. It's quite literally the only thing I can put my faith in. Everything else is a gamble or has failed us. Let's talk about this upcoming week and what could happen to the prices. AMC is looking really good this week. It found and held support for 2 consecutive days last week, above 39.66. After a run that had it closing at 40.87, AMC will need to break 41.30 and consolidate above it if we are to test that 44 resistance at any point this week. Given that the stock market will not be fully opened this week, I expect this to have some type of effect on this price. If AMC breaks that 44, we could and most likely run to 47 again, and possible 50. Support will be found at 39.66, 38.97 and 38. Resistance will be met at 41.08, 42.42 and 44. So far, the stock seems like it wants to break that ridiculous resistance wall at 44, so let's hope that this week's weird market schedule does not negatively affect it too much. As far as I am concerned, I am bullish, but if we do dip down, especially after that nice run on Friday, I will not be surprised at all. GameStop is looking like a nice juicy burger after a hard workout. This stock had a monster run on Friday that had it closing at 228.80. I want GME to consolidate above 220 and hold above it as long as possible. Resistance will be met at 230, 237 and 255. Support will be found at 220, 217 and 215. I loved that run on Friday, but because it was almost vertical all day, GameStop did not have a lot of time to consolidate, and hence the support between 215 and 230 isn't that much. As such, shorters will have an advantage in shorting this if they want this week. Still, I am loving we are above 220, so let's hope that we continue moving upwards. Like I said, expect this week to be a little different than the others. I will be making videos the entire week, so don't expect any breaks. I will also be making morning videos, so those that like them, expect to continue getting content from that end. Remember, though some of the topics we touch on are grim and sometimes incredibly frustrating, keep in mind that no substantial everlasting change came without its hardships. Nothing has changed in regards to buying and holding, as it is truly the one and true way to defeat hedge funds and other institutions. I have even made videos touching on interviews and opinions by hedge fund managers who have gone on record saying that if retail sticks together and holds stocks, they will beat hedge funds at their own game. As such, remember to keep your chins up. There was nothing we could do in relation to the court case, but there is something that we can do in the stock market, which is to buy and hold. Also, by helping spread awareness of what is happening to others, we can further bring in more investors who will help ensure a transfer of wealth bigger than ever imagined. They are the ones who have to cover, they are the ones that are stressing over how to handle buyers coming in. All we have to do is press the buy button and go on about our day. That is all I have for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Thank you all for making it to the end of the video, you guys are all amazing. If you want to support this channel, I have a Patreon link in the description as well as some one-time donation links for Cash App and PayPal. Thank you again for being a part of this channel. I will continue striving for better content. Until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend and to the moon.